Hi, this is Chris Buss with Traders Profit Compass with a mid-session update for Tuesday, February 23rd. A little late getting this out to you, but I think we still have some time to get the video done, get it rendered, and get you something useful by the end of the day. Let's take a quick look at the charts. SPY daily, we had the deep look down below 385. Didn't quite make the 50. But the dipsters have stepped in and kept price above that 385 threshold that we said this morning was important to hold. Here's a 2-hour chart. Here's that deep look down where they held here, came back in to test it, and have moved higher towards filling the opening gap. And you can see that better here on the 30-minute chart. Notice that we filled this gap here. I'll remove that for tomorrow. We came up in this, the 385, you can tell it was important because it had contained price up until just this last half hour where it has broken out above and has an open path to come up here to 387. So just from a trading perspective, there were opportunities down here at 383 at the top of this gap. You had, 3 chances here to, set up a long with a stop just below and hope for a run back up here, which you got, and then you got some follow through to break out above 385. So SPY has averted anything catastrophic today, so just minimal losses at this point. The Qs, on the other hand, had the big gap down, was down almost 4% at one point on the opening few bars, but the dipsters have stepped in. But in this case, price is still trapped right at the 50 EMA. And if we let's see if we can look at the 2-hour here. Yeah, here we have it. A deep look down, tagged the top of this gap at 311, something like that. Came up and we had to look into the gap early, but that failed and it came back. But now we're in above. So it's got a path to get back up to 322, but going back to the daily chart, we are still firmly on a sell signal on the Qs. And what this kind of leads me to believe that it's more of a sector rotation at this point, rather than morphing into a broad market sell-off, because we haven't seen heavy selling in either IWM or the SPY. But so yeah, see how Qs close it, but still work to do to fill the top of this gap. I don't know if it can muster all that today, but the move has firmly put it on a sell signal. I mean, we're down either at or right below the 50 EMA. So that's definitely in cautionary territory. IWM took a look below 217.5, which was a level that we identified, and it has bounced and is sitting right on the 20. So there again, dipsters have stepped in to buy it up and averted a clean sell signal. So this one I think is okay right now. Here you can see on the 2-hour the big drop down, tag at 215, which again, check out the levels almost to the penny right here, a level that we had identified, which is always nice to see. And then you got the bounce and the follow through up. Now there's still, I haven't drawn in the gap. Maybe I did it on IW. Yeah, here it is on a 30-minute chart. I've drawn it in. So if price can pop 221 heading into the close, you can be long there and see if you get $2.50 follow through up to 223.5. That would be a nice trade if you didn't take 220 you could take a break above 221 into the gap and see if you get some follow through up to 223.50. Facebook has had a phenomenal bounce. Deep look down on the opening bar down to 254. Again, a level that we had identified, and it's just been straight up since. So if you were, Johnny on the spot and were able to grab that, you got a nice $10 trade under your belt right now. Same thing with Apple. Dipsters. A deep look down into the 118 area, 117. Bounce. Bunch of consolidation here around 123.50, but has since broken above and is working on closing the gap up to 126. Don't have a lot of detail on Tesla, but had a deep look below. We had identified this double layer of support at 650, where a trend line off of the March lows comes in and coincides with that 650 lateral resistance. And now I can see here, this is a live chart, so we're about at 678. So it held. So although there's been a deep pullback, off of 880 down to 678, that's a couple hundred off the highs, but it has held the main trend line. And so if you are a Tesla bull, this is where you're supposed to buy, right here. And that's your pullback to value. Here was a location, here was a location way down here. When you're in a strong uptrend and you get a pullback to trend line support, that's value. And you can locate your stop, very close by. So if you were in around, between 650 and 680, you can set your stop right here below. And if it regathers itself, you'll have a great trade location going forward for a push back higher. Microsoft has been a little less energetic, I would say, but held where it had to. We had identified this 231, came down, chopped through it a few times, but has since held above. So, it's still in a downtrend, but averted real catastrophe. And that 231 will become our pivot for tomorrow as well. Still work to do on the upside to fill this opening gap, but it's working in that direction. Amazon. Got the free 50 club again. Came down 3,100, which held. And then you got the move back up to 3,150 and a little bit above. So again, we had identified these levels as, that was a key level of support from way back when. And although it penetrated it, it didn't stay there for long, and then got a good bounce, came back, worked inside this gap, and now it's trying to break above 31.50 to try and get a run up to 31.80 in that area to close this gap. So it too, it's down less than 1%. From where it started, it's nice recovery. Google, like the others, bounced out of the open, is now back up here. This one to me looks more like an objective short, like we talked about this morning. You're not going to get the move today, I wouldn't expect, but fail, back test, I would expect it to roll over and fail here. And if it doesn't, then you've got a paper cut. But you never want to see a breakout, move back into a trading range and then move back into a big gap. If it was on an upward trajectory, I would not think it would have done that. So I think this one has gone from one I was particularly optimistic about to one where now that optimism has been knocked back. So this is a good objective short setup right in this area here between 2040 and 2060, depending on where you want to pull the trigger. Netflix has had a nice bounce as well. They pulled the rug on the opening bar, came right down to this 524 level to fill this gap where it held, and they've bounced it on the balance of the day, and now it has filled the gap. So, we talk about the dipsters. It's been a conditioned move, and even, this morning was a pretty significant sell-off, but they remain undaunted, and the only thing that's going to change that is when it doesn't work, right? Traders keep doing what works as long as it keeps working. So if you've been a dipster, that's been working like forever. People will keep doing that until it doesn't work. And then there'll be this point of recognition where when they buy the dip and then they get run over, then they're going to say, hey, this isn't working anymore. And then that will turn into selling. So there's been a lot of movement today. I did basically on our position trades, we had a really nice red to green on Carnival. I mean, it was down, I think it might have been down like $1.50, $2 in the pre-market. And that thing is green now. Jets has gone from red to green. We've got a lot of bounces going on in our position trades. We got a couple clunkers in there that we're going to have to deal with, but one of them being Desktop Metal, and the other one being MP, the materials rare earth mining company. But General Dynamics has held its own. Some of the other stocks that we have are hanging in there, even though we had the sharp sell-off. We're in stocks that haven't been that affected because they're mostly in IWM and outside of tech. So I've been pretty pleased with that in this turbulence, that we haven't had to scramble and bail out on a lot of stocks thus far. So let's see how it goes. Let's see if this is, the first leg down of several more to come, or if it was just a one and done. Time will tell. And so let's see how it closes. I know this is a quick video, so I hope you found the levels useful this morning. A lot of turbulent, violent moves. If you were sharp, there was probably some money to be made there. If you just stepped aside and let all the noise cancel each other out, then here we are, less than 1% down at the end of the day after starting down significantly lower. So let's see how we wrap up, and then we can take it from there. This has been Chris Buss with Traders Profit Compass with your mid-session update for Wednesday the 23rd. Talk to you next time.